Hello fellow Silversaints, I hope you're all doing well. My name is Ashley and this is the Library of a Silversaint where we talk all things books. How are you all? Happy weekend, I hope you're all doing well. Today I wanted to do another weekly reading wrap up and just a general appreciation for reading video today, because if you are any sort of where in the sort of fantasy space at the moment on Bookstagram or on YouTube, November is a huge release month for epic fantasy reads, for new books in a series. You've got James Islington's Strength of the Few, you've got Christopher Rocchio's Shadows Upon Time in the Sunny series, the epic conclusion. If you have anything to do with my channel or know anything that I post about, you'll know that Empire of the Dawn was very recently released by Jay Kristoff. Yesterday, myself and my partner and so many other people that I recognised attended an event in London that Jay Kristoff did with Waterstones, and also another incredible author and favourite author of mine, John Gwynne. The author of the Faithful and the Fallen series. Both Jay and John did a sort of discussion event and book signing and Q&A at St James Church in Piccadilly in London last night, which is why I'm looking very shabby because we got back quite late last night, and so I'm sorry, you're getting lazy Ashley today in terms of my appearance, so apologies for that. But I am wearing my Truth and Courage t-shirt. But we attended that last night and it was just absolutely beautiful. The church was gorgeous and it was so lovely because this is why I wanted to make this video. I wanted to give you an update on all of my weekly reading, which I shall do. But I also just wanted to take the opportunity to just sort of bask in this warm feeling of just, this is why we read, or this is why I read. I completed Empire of the Dawn this week, guys. I finished it. I finished Jay's book 3 in Empire of the Vampire, Empire of the Dawn, and it was so bittersweet because it's like the ending of my favourite series of all time. It's happened. I'll say one of my favourite series of all time because, it's always going to chop and change, but it's the end of one of my favourite series of all time. And it was very bittersweet, and I will probably do a proper sort of discussion chat review about it at some point. I am hoping to do a discussion with it at some point in the future with Jake from Ned Level Rising, so like a sort of non-spoiler and spoiler chat about it, which I will really look forward to. And I've been chatting to so many people this week who have been reading it and finding out about how they felt about it and their experience of it. And everybody is just adoring it, absolutely adoring it, and saying it's just incredible. And we're all having such amazing discussions about it. And it's just brought so much, as I say, I'm just basking in that warmth of the book community and, all the sort of connections I've been able to make and the friendships I've been able to make through this community. And so it seems a bit soppy, but I just wanted to take a moment to talk about that because last night was especially important for me because it was almost a perfect setup for me, having both Jay and John be the people that were in discussion, because I made a video a couple of months ago about my sort of not evolution of my reading journey, but my reading journey and how it's kind of changed and how the types of books that I read have sort of changed over time. And I spoke about something that I really spoke about was how my reading changed last year, 2024, July. I went from generally reading a lot of historical fiction, which I still do read, and sort of literary fiction and contemporary books. I went from reading a lot of those and a lot of non-fiction as well, to all of a sudden refinding and reigniting my love for epic fantasy as an adult through finding 2 series. And that was The Faithful and the Fallen by John Gwynne and Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. I read Malice and Valor, and then read Empire of the Vampire, and then read Ruin and Wrath. So I read both John's and Jay's series pretty much at the same time within the space of a month or two. That reignited my love for fantasy. And if it wasn't for the series, The Faithful and the Fallen and Empire of the Vampire, if it wasn't for those 2 series, I might not have met so many other incredible bookish content creators or just, Bookstagram pages. And I might not have started this channel, which I love. I love doing it because I love talking to everybody and meeting so many new people and hearing other people's recommendations and just having discussions about books and just opening up a dialogue. It's just the most warm, wonderful space. And last night attending the event with Jay and John, it felt so incredible because I knew that there were going to be people there that I would recognise and that I would know, and familiar faces, even though we've never seen each other ever before in real life, but because you interact about books and chat about books, and it's just the most wonderful feeling. And it was so nice to actually have some people come and say hi, and to meet some people, and to get to meet people that I've, known for quite a while, like Imi in the books. I've known and spoken to her for months and months and months and months, and I finally got to meet her in person, which was just the most incredible feeling. And I just wanted to, when I gave her a big squeeze, she gave me a big squeeze, and I just never wanted to let go. It was just this lovely feeling. So it just seemed really perfect that it was Jay and John there together in discussion, talking about Empire of the Vampire. But both of their series were the ones. They were the ones that got me here. And so it just felt really special to me. And it was just so wonderful. It was so lovely. And so I wanted to talk about that just a little bit and just say, this is why I read. This is why I read. It's not just about the books. It's about everything that comes with it. It's like a family. All those, as I say, discussions and dialogue that you can have about these incredible worlds and just meeting new people. And it's just, how lovely is that? It's so lovely. And I always say to the girls, we are all friends because of words on a page. Just words on pages. It's crazy. It's the weirdest thing, but it's the most beautiful thing. I just had the best time. So I wanted to talk about that first, and now link into my weekly reading wrap up. Time to stop being soppy. I just had to. It was so wonderful. It was so wonderful. The first book that I finished this week was Empire of the Dawn by Jay Kristoff, book 3 in the Empire of the Vampire series. And I'm trying desperately to reach my copy at the moment because it's a very special one. So last night at Jay's events at the moment, he is selling these dust jackets, these tour dust jackets that he's doing, and they are reversible. So I will show you this. This is the one I've chosen to go with just because I just utterly adore that art, and it works so well with the sprayed edges of the Waterstones limited edition. But just look at that. How beautiful is that? And then you've got the spine, which matches obviously the US. The US covers have this kind of writing. And then on the back, you've got all of the tour dates, which is really cool. And then when you go to the inside, it has got a quote, "Sharp as 3 swords, the 7-star and his signature," which is really cool. And then I will just remove it so that I can show you the reverse side, which I might switch it around every now and then. You never know, I might switch it around. But at the moment, especially with the black sprayed edges, this one is definitely working for me the most. But it is reversible. So you've kind of got the comedy side as well, which is Jay unaliving a horse, which he's become quite famous for doing throughout the series. But he was saying, it's okay. In Empire of the Dawn, one of the horses survives. He's not lying to us. He's not lying to us. He's not trying to break our hearts too much. One of the horses does survive. So I've got this incredible dust jacket. My partner very kindly, bless him, went and queued up to get it for me whilst I was waiting to meet Jay. Thank you, Harry, for doing that for me. Probably stood there like thinking, why am I doing this? It was greatly appreciated because look at it. It looks so beautiful. I just adore it. So finish Empire of the Dawn by Jay Kristoff. Now, I'm not going to talk about this too much because I know that so many people will be reading it or potentially haven't started the series yet. So I don't want to talk about anything too much because I don't want to spoil it or anything. I posted a selfie the other day saying like, this is what Empire of the Dawn can see. And it was just my eyes just focused on it. Like, this is what my copy of Empire of the Dawn can see, is just me with my eyes wide, because I could not put this down. My intention was, take your time, Ashley. Savor it. I'm one of those people, if there's something nice on my plate, like my favorite thing when I'm eating a meal, my favorite thing, I won't eat it first. I'll save it to the end. Like roast dinner, Yorkshire pudding, I save it till the end. That's my favorite bit. I couldn't wait. I just had to devour it. It was unputdownable. It was absolutely unputdownable. This is so well written. This was beautifully fast-paced, but also had so many moments of just, I don't know how to describe it, not the world building as such, but it was one of those things where you kind of think, at this point in this series, you think you're on book 3, you think everything's been established, we know everything now, let's just, get to it. But still, Jay, he dove straight into the action, but also still surprised us with so many new aspects. There was the whole first book of this book, because each book is split up into 6 books. The book 1 of this was all as part of the story that I did not see coming, and it was just sensational. The tension was just incredible. I was just eating it up. I just couldn't get enough of it. And it's so clever. Another thing I have to say that I think is amazing about this series that Jay has done incredibly well is his characterization. His building of characters is just impeccable, because there were moments where, as a reader, I thought, I know this character so well that that is not something they would do, or that is definitely something they would do. I love that the fact that we know these characters so well, they're so well written. It's so clever. It's so clever. It was absolutely beautiful. It was everything I wanted from a conclusion and more. That being said, as excited as I was for this and have been, I've always been a little bit nervous about it as well. Book 3s, final books in a series, can be really, really tricky. They can be hit or miss, because for an author, especially in epic fantasy where there's so many strands, you know, you've got all the world building, you've got your characters, you've got your plot, you know, there are so many elements, and especially in a series where so many predictions could be being made. When, as an author, it is impossible to please everybody. And especially with something like this, where there are so many threads and so many directions that Jay could have taken, I think he took a really bold choice in the direction that he went with this ending. And it was one that kind of hit me in the face initially. And I thought, whoa, did not see that coming. Did not see that coming. The more I think about that, because I think initially it kind of hit me, I thought, oh my gosh, this is totally unexpected. What? But actually, how clever is that? That you know this series so well, you know the characters so well, you know the story so well, and yet still it can just surprise you like that. And that just, it blew me away. It absolutely blew me away. I definitely had to think about it for a little bit. So clever and beautiful. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. And as I say, I think book 3s can always be, or final books in a series can be so difficult, but I think Jay absolutely smashed this. I think he absolutely smashed it. His writing is incredible. The story was just, it was like a drug. I was just inhaling it. It was just, it just kept getting better and better and better. And I am utterly in awe of the story that this man has been able to craft. He's a master crafter. And also, I will say, I met him last night. The most wonderful person, so kind, so grateful for his fans and his readers. It was just, what a guy, what a guy. What an incredible series. And I feel a bit sad now thinking, oh, it's over. But oh, how amazing. And we got some information about the new series that he's currently working on, which is just even more exciting. I think he pitched it as Inglourious Bastards meets Game of Thrones. I mean, there's one of my favourite series of all time, one of my favourite films of all time. Inglourious Bastards is one of my favourite films. I just can't wait. Very bittersweet, but for me, Infinity Stars. I love this with my whole heart. This is why we read. This is why we read. And I always think about, with this series, it's always going to be in my heart, because I think if it wasn't for this series, where would I be? I have no idea. But it wouldn't be here. It wouldn't be here. So, Empire of the Dawn, guys. Empire of the Dawn. I was absolutely terrified to meet Jay. Can I just say? Terrified. Trembling like a leaf. Like going up to him like, he was so lovely. He was so lovely. And made me not feel like a complete freak. I forgot to completely show you. Of course, he signed. This is my signed copy, because it came signed. But of course, he signed it again. And so he wrote a nice quote, which is, for Ashley, no fear, only fury, which I just absolutely adore. So it's amazing. And another thing I have to fangirl a little bit about, which I was really happy about, is that he really loved Ash Drinker. And he took a little photo of her. He thought she was really brilliant. So my tattooist did a great job. So that was a bit of a moment for me. Like, I was really happy. And also, I will just show, this is nothing to do with my weekly reading wrap up as such, but I did take my US paperback of Nevernight, which is another series that Jay has written, which I absolutely adore. It's not massively different in tone to, it is grimdark and fantasy, and it's just incredible. You've got your main protagonist is Mia Corvair. She's like a 16-year-old in the first book, training to be an assassin to destroy the people that ruined her family, that destroyed her family. So she's seeking vengeance, and you've got, it's kind of like Imperial Roman sort of inspired world where the sun is always shining. So it's like the opposite of Empire the Vampire, where the sun never shines at all. In this, it's never night. I think it only is nighttime once every 2 years or something, because there are sun gods and they're all kind of out of alignment. It's an amazing series. Highly recommend it. But I took my US paperbacks. I love the US covers for Nevernight. And he signed this for me as well. So never forget. It was amazing. It was amazing. So it was so kind of him to sign that for me as well. So I had a bit of a fangirl moment at that. Moving on, my partner and I finally finished My Friends by Frederick Backman. We have been buddy reading this together, doing a couple of chapters. I wanted to say every day. We've obviously missed days quite a lot. So it took us September and October to read this. But we've been reading a couple of chapters of this together, sort of every few days, and just adoring it. Love Frederick's writing. I have read A Man Called Uva, Anxious People, and Beartown, and loved all of them, and now My Friends. And my partner has read A Man Called Uva, which I think is one of his favourite books of all time. And also he has read has he read the first 2 books in the Beartown trilogy? The first 2 books in the Beartown trilogy as well, and loved them. I loved book 1, struggled a bit more with book 2. But we both decided to pick up My Friends together because we knew we're both fans. Let's do it together. This has been just beautiful. This was beautiful. It was a lovely ending. It was it was a very bittersweet ending. There was a lot of sadness, but there was a lot of hope in the ending. And I thought the ending was absolutely perfect. I've spoken about this a few times in my recent weekly wrap-ups, but as I say, Frederick Backman writes about the human experience in the most beautiful way. You know, just normal people living their normal lives, but with a lot of heartache and a lot of failure. He talks about failure and what it feels like to fail as a person and maybe not live up to other people's expectations of what you should be as a human. And he talks about that a lot in his books, which is something that I really resonate with quite a lot. I love how he writes about that. This was a beautiful book. It generally sort of covers a couple of timelines, present and past. In the past, you are talking about a man's group of friends. And that man is in the present with a young girl called Louisa, who is an orphan, and they've got quite a big age gap. You know, I think she's 18 or just about to turn 18 in this book, and he's sort of early 40s, but they kind of form an unlikely friendship, kind of out of thin air, really, but through like a shared grief of both losing friends. And they end up kind of stumbling into each other's lives, kind of find out they need each other a bit more than they realised. And it's just beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And I love this. I love Frederick's writing. It's not my favourite of his books. It's not my favourite. I think Anxious People or A Man Called Uva are still above this for me. Or Beartown. Beartown was really good. They're all amazing. That's the thing. How can you choose? But this was great. And I really enjoyed reading that with my partner. So that was really good for us to do. Which leads me on to my next book, which is the next book that I will be reading with him, because we've decided to do another sort of buddy read together. We are going to be reading The Wager by David Grann. Now, I don't know too much about this, apart from when it initially got released, I would go into Waterstones and I would see it everywhere in Waterstones. It just kept on being talked about. So I will read the blurb, because otherwise I will not be able to say anything about this. So, 1742, a ramshackle vessel of patched together wood and cloth washes up on the coast of Brazil. Inside are 30 emaciated men, barely alive, survivors from The Wager, a British vessel wrecked while on a secret mission to raid a Spanish treasure-filled galleon. They have an extraordinary tale to tell. 6 months later, an even more decrepit boat comes ashore on the coast of Chile, containing just 3 castaways with their own very different account of what happened. And he's just having a yawn. The 30 sailors who landed in Brazil, they maintain, were not heroes. They were mutineers. As accusations of treachery and murder fly, who is telling the truth? Sounds really good. So we've picked this up, and I believe this is kind of a true story that has been adapted into a novel. I'm really excited. I'm really excited to give this a go, and I'll give you an update as soon as we have started, because we have not started yet, but that's another reading update for you. Another reading update is actually one that happened last night. I finished Golden Fool, book 2 in the Tawny Man trilogy by Robin Hobb. I've been doing a buddy read of this with Abby Books and 3 Cats and V from Books and Cocktails After Hours on Instagram. And we have been buddy reading the Tawny Man trilogy, and I finished Golden Fool, which is book 2. I can't say too much about this because in terms of the whole realm of the Elderlings by Robin Hobb, this is book 8. Yes, it's book 8 out of 16. Officially halfway through the realm of the Elderlings. That feels like quite a good milestone. I'm really happy about that. This was utterly devastating. Book 1, Fool's Errand, was devastating. This is also devastating. There was one scene in particular, I always felt sick. If you've read it and you're a fan, you probably know which scene I mean, but I felt sick. It was horrible. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. What can I say? I wrote my review this morning for Goodreads, just like a few words. And I literally couldn't say anything more other than Robin Hobb is a masterclass in terms of creating characters. Her characterization is unmatched. It's like nothing I've ever seen before. Her ability to craft characters that are just so human. Even if they're not quite completely human, I'm just going to put that out there as well. So human. They're just so flawed, but not in makes you think, oh, they're a bad person. No. they just make mistakes and they just do things wrong and they take wrong turns. And obviously, as the reader, we think, oh my gosh, what are you doing that for? But you see exactly why they're doing it when you're reading the book. And it's such a strange experience. Robin Hobb's writing is so whimsical and cozy and beautiful. It feels very wholesome and like you're wrapped up in a blanket by a fireplace in like this is set in Buckkeep, which I always think is very sort of Arthurian, Sword of the Stone. I think of like cobbles and cobbled paths. She often refers to like standing by the hearth, so fireplaces and rugs and that's what I picture. I just picture being by a fireplace, having stew and nettle tea, cozying up by the fire, telling a tale. That's what I picture when I read these books and how I feel. So they feel like a warm hug, but then it feels like every now and then that Robin Hobb just like tears the rug off of you and you immediately are like frozen and left abandoned. And then she quickly ramps you back up again. That's what my description would be of reading a Robin Hobb book, is it's just this warm, wonderful, lovely, and then every now and then awful experience, but for the best reason. And often it's because for me as a reader, you can see these characters doing these things and you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is a terrible idea. Can you not see that? But also you can totally see why they're doing it. You're like, I'm with you. I understand. But also, what are you doing? It's so funny. It's so funny in that way. And I just think, how incredible is it that someone can create that kind of character work where you're having that kind of response to it? Unmatched. You're following Fitz and the Fool, so characters from the original Farseer trilogy, which is Assassin's Apprentice, Royal Assassin, and Assassin's Quest. You've then got live ships in between. There are some really cool connections, though, between live ships and Farseer and Tawny Man. The sort of world building, the lore, it all connects. It's beautiful. It's rich. That's how I would describe Robin Hobb's books. Rich. They are just rich and full of suffering. That's what I'm going to say. But also beautiful. Am I selling it? I feel like I'm not. It was 5 stars. It was beautiful. It was absolutely spectacular. I'm really looking forward to finishing. I think the final one is Fool's Fate. I'm ready for it. I think we might be reading that in December. Abby and V, you'll have to let me know. But sensational. Beautiful. I also have some Berserk updates. I finished volume 16 this week and have started volume 17. I have literally just started it. I'm only a few pages in, but I finished volume 16. I have started volume 17. This volume 16 was not one of my favourites, but when I say that, it's like saying, what's your least favourite type of almond butter filled dark chocolate? There really isn't a one that I least like. I like it all. It's all phenomenal. So I'm being really picky when I say that. So when I say it's not my favourite, don't take that as that wasn't a very good volume. Volume 16 was amazing. It just wasn't my favourite so far. However, volume 17, absolutely adoring. Absolutely adoring. Especially because this character, Puck, is kind of back around this area, sort of like made an appearance again. This is a little elf character that kind of tags on to Guts in the story. Guts is, Guts is damaged. Guts is really damaged and traumatized and has been through a lot. He's very much like a closed book, just doesn't trust anybody, doesn't want to connect with anybody. We're in this epic fantasy, kind of makes me think of like a middle-age kind of world. He's been going from mercenary group to mercenary group, trying to defeat demons, and he's been in these huge quests and he's literally battling demons. He's got this mark on the back of his neck, which he's been kind of, sorry, I don't want to spoil it too much, but I don't know if I want to say touched by a demon, but he's been impacted by demons. And now these demons follow him, literally followed by actual demons. They're wherever he goes. And this little guy, Puck, is like a little ray of sunshine that follows Guts around and kind of supports him regardless of how horrible he is, because he's really horrible. He's like the ultimate anti-hero. He's vile to people, but you know why. It's because he's really damaged and awful things have happened to him. But you've got this little guy that just follows him around and it's just the sweetest thing ever. And I'm loving it. It's great. I've also been watching the anime for this as well. The episodes are on YouTube. So if you ever want to watch an anime for it, then I would highly recommend. So I've been watching sort of each episode as I've been going. I'm not caught up though. I think I watched episode 5 of the anime for this the other day, and it was really good. So this has been great. So Berserk is continuing, and hopefully this week I should finish volume 17 and potentially start volume 18. Maybe not. Maybe, most likely. Also, completely rogue. This was not on my last week's mention. It's just appearing because why not? So I have had Mouse by Art Spiegelman on my shelf for ages, and I started it ages ago, absolutely ages ago. This is a graphic novel. So I'm just going to choose a random page. There you go, graphic novel. I started it ages ago and I just put it down and I never picked it back up again. Given the image that is on the front cover, as you can see, it is World War II related. It is Nazi Germany related. It is very, very dark. World War II, okay? So it's heavy, and I think that's probably why I put it down. However, we know what my reading taste has been over the last year. Apparently, I just choose emotional devastation. Don't ask me why, I just do. And myself and my partner are shortly going to be going to visit Krakow, which is obviously a very famous site in Poland because nearby is Auschwitz. And it's something that I'm contending with in my brain as to whether it's a place that I want to visit, and I feel like I should visit it. But I'm very apprehensive. I'm very apprehensive about the day and the trip and the visit as a whole. I'm very apprehensive because I don't know how to feel about it. But we're going to go. I saw this on my shelf the other day and I thought, hang on a minute, I never finished that. I think I would rather read this before we go rather than after. Now, I might be wrong. I might be wrong by doing it that way around. But I've decided to do it that way around, and I have restarted it because I had forgotten where I'd got up to, and I'm over halfway. I'm about 3/4 of the way through, so I'm hoping to potentially finish this weekend. If you're not familiar, Mouse is a graphic novel written by Art Spiegelman. From what I know, I've not researched this, which is terrible of me. From what I gather, Art Spiegelman is writing a graphic novel representing his childhood, and if I'm right in saying this, his father was a prisoner of war in World War II. And Art is talking and interviewing his dad in the present day in these sort of images. He's interviewing his dad and asking him about his experiences because he feels like it's really important that they are written down. And then he creates this cartoon strip. And the cartoon strip itself, the actual graphic images themselves, are of those conversations, as well as depicting the stories that Art's father is talking about. So, of course, given the nature of this, it is very dark, but it's also a very emotional glimpse into World War II and some of the things that were going on from a very specific point of view. I found it really touching and very enlightening and very horrifying as well. But this is beautifully done. It's absolutely beautifully done. And though very heavy, if it's something that you feel you would be able to read, I would recommend, because I won't say I'm enjoying it because I feel like that's just not the right verb to use, but I feel like it's an important read for me and I'm glad that I have read it. So I just wanted to include that as well. On a slightly lighter hearted note, I wanted to mention that I have started The Two Towers by J.R.R. Tolkien. We are doing this as part of a buddy read along we did The Hobbit in September, we did Fellowship of the Ring in October. This is all on Discord. And we're doing The Two Towers in November. Some people are listening to the audio by Andy Serkis. I am choosing to read physically because I have been doing some little tabs. I'm doing some tabbing for plot and relevance, characters, lore and world building, and quotes as well. And this, I'm absolutely adoring this. This is just, I think Abby calls it an enrichment activity. That's what this feels like. It's just, I sit there, got my little pen, got my little tabs, and I just go through and just read it, and just being immersed back into Middle Earth is just, it's just the most wonderful feeling. And I can't wait to be able to rewatch the film again, because obviously I'm watching the extended edition for probably the 17th time. Sorry, Harry, that I will be doing that because I will be. But this is just beautiful. I'm only a little bit in because I was predominantly focused on Empire of the Dawn this week, I have to admit. I have just finished a chapter about the Uruk-hai. But I was also introduced to the Riders of Rohan. So if you're familiar with Lord of the Rings, I was introduced to Aoma's character, and also the Chapter 1, the Departure of Boromir. sad. But this is just beautiful. And also, I would just really like to say that I love The Two Towers, especially because I feel like this is a book so far where the choices that Aragorn has to make as a character are really highlighted. Aragorn is my favourite character. I utterly adore him because I just think he is a man that is pulled in so many different directions. And he really takes on all of the decisions he makes, worrying that he's made the wrong one. And you can really clearly see that in this. There's so many moments where he thinks it's his fault of how everything's happened because he's not made the right choice because of who he is. And I find that really emotional. And I think that really sort of comes to light in this book. But I'm absolutely, utterly adoring it. If you'd like to join in on the Discord, please do. I'll put the link in the description below. Also, can I just say, anybody that has been part of the Discord and has been commenting in there, joining in, thank you so much, because especially with Empire of the Dawn and everything, the Discord has just been the best place. So thank you to everybody that is part of it. I just love it. And then my final reading update that I wanted to talk to you about, actually I have two. One is I have started my buddy read of The Heroes by Joe Abercrombie. We're doing this on audio, myself and Liam, Scottish Guy That Reads. We are doing a buddy read of this. We are a few chapters in. I am so back. Lord Grimdark, I'd missed him. I'd read The First Law twice earlier in this year, then read Best Served Cold a couple of months ago with Jake from Ned Level Rising and Andrew from Brother Grimdark, and I'm back. I'm back in the First Law world, guys. I can't leave it for too long. This is home. This is cozy, not cozy, but definitely feels cozy to me. This is predominantly focused around the events of a battle, an impending battle, and this is just pure warfare and kind of politics. Yeah, politics of like clans. You've kind of got the Union versus the Northmen. So it's kind of those two sort of sides from the First Law trilogy. A little bit of time has gone on. Things are out of balance. People want revenge. People want what's theirs. And can I just say, they're not always my favourite, as in they're not always the best characters in terms of like people that you'd actually want to be friends with. But the Northmen, I just love the Northmen. The Northmen are just the best. And Stephen Pacey's narration is next level. I love hearing his voice in my ears every day. Not in a creepy way. It's just really great. This is great fun. And it's really fun to be chatting to Liam about it, just giving updates every day, how we're getting on. It's been brilliant. And my final update is I have also started Tales of the Sun Eater Volume 2 by Christopher Rocchio. This is another short story collection. I believe he's currently got 4 short story collections out. So this is the second collection. They are currently only on ebook, but I think eventually one day he has mentioned that when he collates enough, he's going to actually do a physical print of them, which would be really cool. This is meant to be read after Demon in White, which is book 3 in the Sun Eater series. So Andrew, Brother Grimdark, and I recently finished Demon in White, so we're reading this now. I literally started it this morning, so I can't say anything because I'm nowhere near. I've read like 3 pages, so I can't say anything other than I'm really excited about it and I'm excited to start. But quite a lot of updates this week and a lot of gushing, so I'm sorry for that. But yeah, that's my weekly reading wrap up. Please let me know how your week has been, what you've been reading, what you've been loving. Tell me everything. Did you read Empire of the Dawn? Did you like it? Did you not? If you've been reading Strength of the Few, let me know how you're getting on, because I read The Will of the Many and I do want to read Strength of the Few, but I don't know how much to prioritise it. So if you're reading it, please let me know in the comments below. And also if you're going to any like book events or anything, because I just love to hear what other people are getting up to. But thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. I would be so grateful. Ernie would also be grateful. He's fast asleep with Sloth on a blanket next to me right now, so sorry for his lack of appearance. And if you would like to stick around and become a firm member of the Library of a Silver Saint, then please do hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you join me. It would mean the world to me. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely weekend. Bye.